Welcome to Learning by Doing with Praveen Kandan. This is Praveen. In this Java exception handling playlist, we will learn exception handling concepts from the scratch. This is Java exception handling session number 13, generic exception handling. If you are confident about learning, then like the video, subscribe the channel for more update. Please click the bell icon and select all notification option. Don't choose personalized option. You may miss some session updates. Let's get started. In our previous session, we have discussed about multiple catch block. So first, we'll try to understand what's the problem with the multiple catch block. If you're writing the code like this, automatically lines of code will be increased. It is not readable. I'm right. You're writing so much of exceptions, arithmetic exception, array index, out of bound exception. In this example, number format exception is not handling. Okay, that is not coming here. It is not in the picture itself. But for safety purpose, you are giving that number format exception is coming means I can write like this. Null pointer means I have to like write like this. So a number of exceptions are here, 100 or 1,000 exceptions are here. So are you going to write all these things like this one by one? So here we having the solution. We can write a generic solution. Word itself having the meaning generic means what is a general one, common one. We are going to give the common one. See here, in case in this example itself, if I am not giving this array of exception, you know what will happen. See here, I'm exiting the code. See here, program started. So normal input I'm giving 7. So it'll give the output 100 divided by 7 is 14. It ignore the decimal part, give the position. So what position I'm giving? 0 to 4. I'm giving like 8. So 8 is not in the range because our size is 0 to 4 only. Because maximum size itself 5, so 0 to 4 is applicable. 8 means next you are reading the input from the user. So enter the value, I'm giving 50. It will throw an exception because even though if you're writing the catch block, arithmetic exception only handle. There is no array index out of bound exception. Then what you'll do, you will write this array index out of bound exception. Am I right? You'll write this array index out of bound exception. Then only it will be valid. Am I right? So what you'll do? So again you'll type the input. I'm giving the input as now 5. So 100 divided by 20 is 100 divided by 5 is 20. I'm giving the position number. Now it is 12. Data is 120. So actually we can't able to store in the what is that array of 12 equal to 120. So first you'll check whether array end of exception is the first section not, because we are using arithmetic exception. Or control will be transferred to line number 29. Array index out of bound having the object. So we are getting the object also. What is that? Array index out of bound only. It is matching. Next, what will print? Invalid array position. Invalid array position. Program terminated. Because object only throwing. Then try block, what it is throwing means object. What type of object? What type of exception it is? That class object is throwing. So that is matching at line number 29 only. So that is what you are using here. What's the class reference variable? Class name or array index out of bound exception. So object reference will also having the capability to store the array index out of bounds exception. Okay. This is what happening. In case if I'm not giving this catch block, it will throw an exception. So to if you're having this much or two or three type of exception, okay. If you're having 100 type of exceptions, are you going to type like this? It will be a lengthy one. Am I right? Tedious process. Instead of that, now we are going to use the same program. Okay, same program. Instead of writing this much of things, okay, I'm going to use the big one. It's a general one. So here, instead of arithmetic exception, I'm giving the root class name. What is that exception? My throwable is classified into exception and error. The exception, we are having the checked exception, unchecked exception. These all coming into the unchecked exception category. I'm going to use the parent class name directly here. This is the parent class for the arithmetic or array index out of bound exceptions error. So see here, I'm now reduce the code here. So I'm going to read the input from the user. This time giving 0. So what will happen? 100 divided by 0. So this time what the output will get? Exception handled. Can you will see the output? Exception handled. Okay. Because you're giving the wrong input 0. So rest of the code will not be exceeding the try block. So it will throw here. E is commonly having the capability to store all type of exception. What type of exception will throw? Array index out, what is it, not array here, arithmetic exception, am I right? So arithmetic exception is throwing here. Okay, arithmetic exception object is throwing it, so he is storing that, because exception is the parent class, so parent class is the root class, so it having the capability to store that child class also here. Okay, so the parent class only they are invoking, so it will all this what is that arithmetic array index having the exception. All these exceptions are present in the parent class. We already discussed here. For a reference, I'm showing that PDF now. See, so exception class only, all these classes under the exception class only, these subclasses are coming. Okay, it is already present, this arithmetic and null pointer number format index all present in the exception. So it having the capability to store these exceptions. Okay, so what's the problem? Instead of multiple catch block, you can use a single catch block. And then another one is that we already discussed what's the necessity, why you are using handle all the exceptions and reduce code duplication. Because again you're using the catch block. Instead of that, single catch block solves all the problem. Next, rules for catch block. What is that? Specific exception first, generic exception first. What is that? We'll discuss. So what the rules you are telling? Specific exception first, generic exception last. Okay, specific exception first, generic exception last. Example, here having the exception E I'm using. Okay, followed by, so generic exception is also there. I'm followed by, I'm giving array index out of bound exception, array index out of bound exception here. See here, it will throw an error. Can you able to guess the reason? Unreachable catch block from array index out of exception is already handled by the catch block for exception. We already told you this exception is base or root for all type of exception classes. So we already provided here itself in having the capability to handle the array index out of bound exception. Am I right? Example, I'm cutting this line and then executing once again. It is having the capability to handle the arithmetic exception, array index, and what are the exception? Everything is possible here. Example, this time giving the correct input, no problem with the arithmetic. I'm giving the position value now in a wrong position, like 70. Here we have to handle it. Am I right? The value is 100, array of 70. I'm expecting to store this 100. Here it will throw an exception. So that will be handled by this catch block itself, because it's a generic class. It is having the capability to handle the exception. So common one exception here, generic in the sense common one. So exception handle. But you are going to additionally giving that means it like a duplication. Already the exception class itself having the capability to handle this type of exception, all type of exception. Again, if you are placing important round one interview questions, so it is already handled by the Java catch block for exception. So it will throw a compile time error. It is not allowed. You may place it in the first position. No issues. That is what they're telling. Specific exception first, remaining exception. That is a general exception is the last. See here. Now the exception is out. Because first we'll check with the array index out of exception. If it is matching, it will execute. Read out the rules now. Specific exception first. This is the specific exception. Generally, I'm giving array index out of bound exception. I hope you are clear this. So I'm giving the position now 6. So 16 is printing divided by and 100 by 16. 100 by 6 is 16. Position I'm giving. Wrong position I'm giving 7. So value as 101. So exception is handled, because first we will check array index out of bound is available. Yes, invalid array position. In case, mark my word, important trick question now. In case if I'm giving my wrong input like 0, 100 by 0, exception is coming arithmetic divided by exception divided by 0, control be transferred to line number 16 to first line number 26. We'll check whether is there any arithmetic exception to handle this? No. Line number 26 is not having the capability to handle the arithmetic exception. Instead of that, now cursor will move on to the line number 28. Generic exception is having the capable to handle any type of exception class. So now it will be handled. The output is exception handled is present. Now the output is exception handled is printing. Are you clear? The output is exception handled is printing because it is having the capability to handle all the type of exception. Okay. So these are the rules you have to follow it. I hope you're clear with this. So far we have discussed in the session what is by generic expression, what's the advantage of using that instead of multiple catch block, single catch block you can give it. So why to use it means handle all type of exception, yes possible, reduces code duplication. In our previous example, we are using more than two or three catch blocks here. So avoid that here. The rules is if you're using the specific expression, it should be first. At last only you have to give the generic exception. If you found this session useful, then like the video, subscribe the channel for more update, and please share it with your friends. If you have any queries, please drop your comments in the comment section. We'll give you reply. Thank you for watching.